Hello friends, a very good day to you. Today we will be looking into the rise of Persian and regional literature, and we will be focusing upon the Mughal period. Alright. Now the Mughal period is known for the great abundance of primary sources from which to reconstitute the history of the Mughals. The Mughal period is known for the great literary activities that were undertaken by the court itself, Mughal court itself, as a court activity, okay, as an institutionalized activity. And this period is also important from the perspective of the rise of regional literatures, because it is the period of also the Bhakti movement, and the Bhakti movement is predicated upon the rise of regional languages and the spread of the message of Bhakti through the regional languages. Now, proceeding forward, we see that Babur himself, okay, had written down his memoirs in the Baburnama. This is a description of the socio-cultural milieu of India during the invasions of Babur. It describes the cultural and social environment of India during his invasions and during the very beginning of the establishment of the Mughal Empire in India. Okay, it is closely followed by the Humayunama, which is a work by Gulbadan Begum. Okay, which is a work by Gulbadan Begum being the sister of Humayun, and Humayun Rama is also written in order to memorialize the rule of Humayun in India, okay, and it describes his history, it portrays his life and his works, okay, the Humayun Nama. And proceeding from there on, we see that during the Akbari period, the entire process of writing down histories of the Mughal Empire becomes institutionalized. It becomes a court sanctioned activities, and various you see scholars within the Mughal court itself are sanctioned by Akbar himself to write down the histories. And also this is a period of translation works, okay, various Sanskrit works were translated during this period. All right, chief among these works are the Akbarnama and its appendix, the Ain-e Akbari, okay. This is the chief work of this period. This is the magnum opus of Abul Fazl, okay, the foremost of the court chroniclers, court historians and court scholar of Akbar's court, okay, Abul Fazl. It is a very important work because it is great in terms of a primary source from which to reconstitute the history of Akbar. All right, and we also have a corollary to the Akbarnama, and that is Abdul Qadir Badayuni Muntakhab ut Tawarikh, okay. This is a very important work because seen against the Akbarnama, it provides a balance to the reconstruction of Akbar's history, because the Akbarnama, since it is a court sanctioned work, it is eulogistic in nature because it praises Akbar to to great extents, okay. But Badayuni's work is an independent work. It is also critical of Akbar because Badayuni himself had suffered under the regime of Akbar, and therefore Badayuni wrote this critical work known as Muntakhab Tawarikh, and it is very important because it balances out the descriptions in Akbarnama and Aine Akbari, okay. Proceeding forward, we also see that Tabakat-e Akbari was also written during this period, okay. This is also a very important work which was written during this period, all right. And we see that this period, Akbar's period, is also very famous for the translation of Sanskrit works into Persian, okay. Remember that Akbar was trying to forge a composite society. He was this vision of Akbar of forging a composite society and a very balanced society in India, okay, is also translated into court activities, okay. It also transpires in the translations of Sanskrit works, all right, Sanskrit works into Persian. because Akbar at this point of time is also looking into the various you see the knowledge base of India, okay, the knowledge base of Indian ancient India, because he is you see attempting to forge a permanent empire in India, and in order to do so he will also have to look into the cultural and religious proclivities of the vast majority of the Indian masses, and therefore this court sanctioned activity of translating Sanskrit works into Persian takes place during Akbar's period. And in this period we see various scholars, Badayuni himself included, okay. Badayuni included Faizi, Ibrahim Sarhindi, okay. These people undertake the translation activities. Badayuni is known for the translation of the Ramayana, okay. Faizi himself had translated the Leelavati. These are important works of translation during this period. Also translations of the Atharva Ved takes place. We also see the translations of Panchatantra. During this period also we see the translations of, you see, Raj Tarangini. Therefore, this period is of no less importance when it concerns the activities undertaken of translations, okay, Sanskrit to Persian, and it is a court sanctioned activity, and it has to do with Akbar's religious policy and Akbar's policy of administration as he forged it out in the context of India, okay. Proceeding from there, this is also a very important period in the development of Urdu, okay. Urdu or Proto-Urdu, which was known as Dakhni or Southern, okay, Southern language at that point of time, or develops during the Mughal period, okay. Dakhni develops in the Mughal period in the southern states of Bijapur and Golconda, okay, and they are patronized by the various rulers of Bijapur and Golconda, and gradually this Dakhni language, it comes towards the northern part of India, and it becomes the language of the ruling elite, okay. It becomes the language of the ruling elite because the language of Urdu easily lends itself to great poetical compositions and also to great literary activity, okay. Therefore, it also becomes a part of the linguistic culture of the you see intelligentsia, okay. Urdu becomes a part of the linguistic culture of the ruling elite and the intelligentsia, okay. And we should remember that during the later Mughal phases, most of the Mughal rulers and also some rulers of regional states, after the fragmentation of the Mughal empire, some rulers of the regional states also start composing various beautiful poems in Urdu, okay. And these poems and also the poems of Mirza Ghalib, there are other important poets in housed in and around Delhi, okay. These poems become very important to the, you see, cultural life of India, the cultural milieu of India at this point of time, okay. There are very beautiful examples of Urdu poetry coming up during the later Mughal period, okay. So we have to you see understand that this period sees, the Mughal period sees a very great development in the linguistic culture of India, okay. And I believe that nothing is more important than also the development of the languages through the Bhakti movement, okay. Now, the Bhakti movement was predicated upon breaking the hegemony of Brahminic culture in India, and therefore, since Sanskrit was the purview of the Brahminic caste, okay, therefore, the important you see personalities of the Bhakti movement, all right, they preached and also they wrote in regional languages. They wanted to make the you see, they wanted to make divine knowledge accessible, all right, and therefore, in the through the behest of the Bhakti movement, the regional languages also find you see a great resurgence during this period. Important to note here is that, you see, Tulsidas, who wrote the Ramcharitmanas. Okay. Of course, everybody knows about Kabir Das and his dohas, all right. And there are other great examples such as Surdas and his Sursagar. All of these compositions are taking, you see, all of these compositions are being written in the regional languages, so that you see the divine knowledge, okay, knowledge about God and knowledge about the bhakti movement itself becomes accessible to the masses, okay, so that they could break the hegemony of the Brahmanical culture, all right. So, bhakti movement and the development of literature, regional literature through the bhakti movement is also a very important development during the Mughal period. It is a part of the, you see, the cultural milieu of the Mughal period of this era, all right. So, while considering the rise of Persian languages in India and also the you see the great developments in the regional languages of India, you have to consider the fact that it begins with the court sanctioned activities of the Mughals, okay. Then you have to look into the Sanskrit and Sanskrit to Persian translations. You also have to look into the development of Urdu as firstly as Proto-Urdu or Dakhani, and then you see becoming a part of the elite culture or the intelligentsia culture of you see the Mughal period and the regional states. And then you have to also look into the rise of the bhakti movement and the you see great impetus provided to the regional languages through the bhakti movement, okay. Because as I already explained, the scholars of the bhakti movement, okay, the proponents of the bhakti movement, they themselves were, you see, spreading the message of God through regional languages to make it more accessible. So, I guess Persian and regional languages is about the Mughal period, sorry, of the Mughal period is quite clear to you. I hope that you will be studying hard. I hope that you do good. I leave you today for now. Thank you.